Welcome to the podcast, Mel.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks for making the trip down. I won't lie. I went to write your bio and I sort of got to about a page of awards and I just went, this is too hard. I'm out. So the bio's a little bit shorter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good problem to have.
Mhm.
I think what it does, it gives a heap of context about just what you've achieved in such a short amount of time. So where I'd love to start is probably on that. Just find a little bit out about maybe where you are now. What does the business look like? Team? I know there's been office growth, staff growth. It's sort of all happening at Zest. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's definitely all happening. So Zest now has 2 offices.
Exciting. Locations?
So primary location is in Brookwater, which is Western Brisbane suburbs. Yep. And then the second one is in a place called Flagstone, which is near Jimboomba, Logan Way. So kind of both very family orientated, sort of
big growth corridor.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of construction, lots going on. That's really our space. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And members in the team?
Yeah, sure. So we're now a team of 12.
Is that escalated?
I was about to say we had a conversation a week ago. It was a team of 10. So we're now 12.
Yeah. Love that.
That looks like 4 brokers. We have 4 brokers plus a training broker, and then 7 support staff with varying positions.
Yeah, great. And just residential mortgages?
Yeah, we're only resi at this point in time. So we haven't stepped outside of that at this very point in time. Yeah, just resi.
And with that, I'm keen to unpack that just a little bit and understand maybe your role in the business as that, and again, as of today, appreciate that's a moving target. But what's the current role for you in the business? And then to follow that up, it's probably understanding the transactional phase of with you and your team.
Yeah. Sure. So look, I am the senior broker in the business, and being a broker is a piece that I love. Look, being the sole broker gets harder and harder and harder as it grows, which is why we started plugging in a couple more brokers in. My role in business, I see my role in the business right now in 2 phases. So number 1, my role is to mentor, grow, support my other brokers coming into the business. So that's a really key component of my role. And then the other side of the thing is I'm still a broker. I still have clients that need to be looked after. I still have relationships that need to be looked after. So those are my 2 key hats at the moment. Most other things, I'm just the inspiration behind, and other people are there to make everything else happen.
And a deal, if we talk about that, again, you're in your sort of business unit, right, in your team, you know, in your pod, whatever that might look like. What does that look like? How does a deal go from end to end, a really high level, quick version?
Easy. So we like to keep things really streamlined and ensure that the amount of people managing a client file is really, really minimal. So we've got, I guess, 2 non-customer facing people. So we've got 2 managers. We've got an ops manager and we've got a business manager. So they very much help me support the team, grow the business, do all the stuff that realistically I don't want to do or have time to do. And then from a customer perspective, we've got brokers, we've got CSMs, and we've got admins. So we've just got these 3 key roles ultimately. A CSM will be allocated to a client and manage that client end to end.
You do the end to end relationship
at the moment. We've kind of had settlements. We've not had settlements. We've changed this a couple of times.
A few things.
But just based upon kind of the incredible people that we have in the business at the moment in time, and ensuring that we're utilizing their skill sets to the best of their ability. Kind of end to end is what's working for us right now. But I think you need to be open to flexibility around those things as well.
I think it's like it's as of today. There's a lot of conversation, as of today, or it depends, or it's a constant moving target. And because what excites me about your business also is that element of high performance. It's not just, again, and as you move through and where we are today, that growth piece, like you said, 10 to 12 2 weeks ago. And if we went back maybe 12 months as well, you know, it was very much geared quite heavily towards you. So you can see that growth trajectory really coming out, which is exciting.
Well, that's kind of the focus at the moment in time, is kind of removing or reducing the requirement for me to write as much as I've been writing to support the business, and then bringing through some high-performing brokers so that they can be really the key people working with all of our relationships with all of our clients. I can reduce the capacity that I need to do to then help the further growth. ultimately.
And what about if we take us back? What were you doing before broking? Trying to understand where it all started.
Yeah. So I worked in banking for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I got my.
You're one of those.
I'm one of those. Yeah. I got my very first job at one of the big banks when I was 17.
Okay.
So right out of school, I did half a degree actually while I was working at the bank. I thought I was going to be an accountant. Decided I did not want to be an accountant. Got a job at a bank, and then that bank just promoted me through the ranks. Moved around a couple of banks as people do, and then I worked like in a CSM style position, like a support credit sort of position, in another brokerage for a couple of years before I decided to kind of step out and become a broker with the intention of being part time.
Where did you grow up? Is it sort of local?
No, so I grew up on a dairy farm. I grew up on a dairy farm on the outskirts of Toowoomba.
Okay, there we go.
Country girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you go to ballet school? I couldn't help myself. I wanted to just drop that one in there.
Yeah,
there's a little bit unknown about Mel. We're just taking the covers back.
Yeah. I did dance a lot growing up. I did dance in Toowoomba a lot, which is where I grew up. And I did dance for QDSE, which is the feeder school to the Queensland Ballet School. So I did a lot of ballet growing up, and then gave it all up at one point in time in my life. Yeah.
And what about the leap into finance? You mentioned then you started that role in the bank. Was that sort of just through a trip? Was that a sort of goal to get into banking, or?
Yeah, look, numbers were always my thing. Obviously, I kind of thought I was going to head in the accounting direction. And then when I left school, I wanted to buy a house really quickly. And I wanted to do all of these things. So kind of I needed to have a job and make money to make that happen, right? So I was like, I can work in banking. I can absolutely do this.
How hard can it be?
How hard can it be? And thankfully, one of the branch managers for one of the branches in Toowoomba saw, so I interviewed probably through 10 different banks.
Yeah.
I was 17.
Yeah.
And,
right.
and they're like, oh, we can't hire this kid, right? And one of the big banks, the branch manager's like, oh, we see something in this person.
Yeah.
And gave me a crack. And started that job at a bank, and I was working full time at the bank and studying at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
But then once I got into the bank, it was like I was a lender by the time I was 20.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Management, everything else.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before, like the growth that you guys have achieved a lot in 5-6 years, more than most would in 10 to 15. Yeah. So kudos to the work you've done there. And that transition at the moment, we talk a lot about sort of broker to brokerage, in our conversations and in our group, and that sort of comes up. How are you finding that transition?
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely not an easy move. I don't see myself as a natural leader at all, and definitely one of the most the biggest challenge for me in this journey, I guess, is becoming a leader or attempting to become a leader when it's not something that I ever saw myself doing.
Yeah.
So and like broking and dealing with a client, that's the thing that I'm very good at. So kind of stepping away from that to help others grow is not easy at all. But it also came out of necessity. We were very, very blessed to kind of build this incredible brand early on and have all this lead volume. So the option was either A, turn the leads away, or B, grow. Those are the options.
Yeah.
And
I think it's that organic growth as well. A lot of us, we talk about sort of go back 3 years and it was, 4 staff and now you're at 14, and your journey, it's the same. It was 3 and now it's 12, right? And so naturally, organically needing to grow into that role. We weren't often given the skills. We don't come from heavy corporate backgrounds and leadership roles, right? So, and when you're a really good technician and a high performer like you are, that shift is not necessarily, like you said, it's not natural. No, it's not easy.
No, and I guess as a business as well, though, right? If you're the key person, the key income driver for that business, but you need to step away from that to grow, that feels really contradictory, right? You're going, okay, I need to slow down the volume that I'm writing, make less money so that you can grow the business. It doesn't feel right. And like the pull to kind of just go, hey, I can just write more loans, make more money.
It's also sustainable, right? Like what's sustainable?
Correct.
That
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of learnings and lessons there for all of us that we make our way through.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about that role now, I guess, moving into becoming a leader?
Yeah, look, I just love seeing my people achieve their goals, right? Like we've got a couple of incredible brokers in there that are becoming really high-performing brokers within their own rights, doing things that they didn't think they could ever do. So seeing them achieve these things through the work that we've done together, love that. As I've got admin, support staff, CSM staff that love coming to work every day. And tell me they love coming to work every day, and they've still got that flexibility to be like, hey, I need to go and do this kid thing, or the kid needs to come to the office for a couple of hours, whatever. I love that it's a business or it's a job that they want to be at, and then they can fit that around or within their family, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's special. And that's, you know, I guess one of the many benefits we have as a small business to be able to create that flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Like their family are an extension of our family, right? Which is great. Yeah.
And talking family, I know two full of energy young boys, Dave, husband Dave, for those playing at home. But, you know, there's a lot of spinning plates with the business. You do a lot outside of work, charity. Like, how does that, how do you balance that? I don't know if that's even the right word, but how do you, I know there's a lot of people, if you're listening, that, you know, that is a common thread and struggle of having a small business, right? And still having a life, and being a high performer. And so how do you guys balance through that all?
Look, I don't think running a small business has work-life balance. I don't think you can try and be like, hey, work-life balance looks like this. Running a small business is never going to be 9 to 5. If you want 9 to 5, you go get a job. Running a small business, even if you're not physically in the office, you're still thinking, right? You're still
always on.
You're always thinking about work. So I think as a family unit, I guess you could say, having or running a small business needs to be a conscious decision of what sacrifice is it going to take to make this happen. And absolutely. So within the last 18 months, we made the decision as a family. So my husband gave up his career, which was quite demanding on his, like he was busy, right? Because our balance was way out of whack. We've got the 2 kids, as you mentioned. So he made the opportunity to kind of come into my business, support me, and really help with kids drop off, kid pick up, sport, those sorts of things. So for us, that has been a change in the right direction towards balance.
And that Dave's role in the business obviously continues to evolve and running at the same pace you do, you know, having 2 of you in different sections of the business. I can already see what that's done for you guys, you know, which is super exciting. How does it, how is there for those that are looking or exploring that idea, but the husband and wife dynamic in a business, how do you guys work through that? How do you manage that?
Look, it definitely comes with the challenges. I think the key thing for us was when we made the decision, and look, he quit his previous position without telling me. So it was really a kind of a decision that he made and then advised me about. But it was something that needed to happen. Like I was at burning point. Like I was not functioning to the best of my ability in any aspect. Because I just had too many plates I was juggling. So he made a decision that he was going to come and help me. But we sat down, we had a really, I guess, detailed, firm conversation where we went, this is what this looks like. If this is going to work, you have your lane, I have my lane, we do not cross.
Awesome.
This is your responsibility, this is my responsibility. Because my biggest concern was for the team. I had this incredible team that worked really well together. They really respected what we built there. But he's quite a big personality, right? So, and he comes from management experience. So he could come into a business and be like this dominant personality that they weren't used to. So kind of ensuring that didn't happen was really key for me. And ensuring that he understood that there was value in what he could bring to the business. And he had some really great strengths that I didn't have. And we needed to utilize those strengths.
Yeah, I love that.
I also needed to share the responsibility, right? Like, running a business has so much weight. So being able to kind of share some of that weight was really important for me.
Yeah, cool. I love that. And I guess it's what makes that decision easier, right? If the communication's at that level, without that, two people running at that speed, almost in opposite directions.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't work side by side practically ever. He sits with the team, I sit in my office, or I work at this office, he works at that office. Like we try not to sit side by side because it could be a lot.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. And what about, I think we talk about culture a lot, and it's one thing I know the time we spent together and a lot of the events that you may speak at and talk about, and do that so well in your business. And it's not easy. And again, and it's in rapid growth and it's with high performance and it's all those things in there. What are some of the things that you guys have implemented in that culture that are really, has really worked for you guys, or this last, 18 months, 2 years, that have really shifted the dial, I guess, when it comes to how you guys have brought the team together?
Yeah, I think what we do is hard, right? So I would never, ever ask my staff to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And I will always be the hardest working person in that business. And my team see that and they feel that. I think that's an important part of culture. We're very family orientated, and anyone that comes into my business, they need to understand that family comes first. Not just for me, but for them as well. So that means if you have kid things on, for example, the expectation is that you go to those kid things and then you do your work whenever it suits you. Okay? I do not.
As long as the work gets done.
Correct. I don't care where, when, how. As long as the work gets done, no micromanaging. You just, there's the expectations. As long as we're on the same page about that, perfect, happy days.
That other nervous twitch I get when you talk about the 9-day fortnight. Talk to me about that.
So it's probably almost maybe 2 years ago. No, maybe 18 months ago, we implemented 9-day fortnights. Again, we have a huge amount of buy-in. Like our team need to have buy-in. Whenever we make changes, they need to be involved. They need to be communicated to. We don't do anything without them knowing about it first. So we sat them down and went, hey, you guys work really, really hard. You're bloody working through your lunch breaks. Not that you should, but you do. Where can we give you some flex? Like where can this payoff be? Because I don't want you guys burning yourselves out. So we gave them a couple of options around going, do we finish earlier? Do we have half a day off? What does this look like? And one of those options was, do you want to trial a 9-day fortnight? And it's an idea that I had from Natish. Natish gave me the idea initially. So Natish is the
shout out to Natish.
Yeah, he's the originator of the 9-day fortnight. And ultimately, all of our team now work 9-day fortnights. All full-time staff members, brokers, support staff, and everyone does, including yours truly. So 8 to 5 p.m. 9 days a fortnight is 76 hours a fortnight. So it's still 76 hours. We're not dropping hours. We're still doing our work. But that 1 day a fortnight works really, really well, because I think that's the day for everyone to get their life admin done. And gives their weekend for them and their family, right? Which
they're present.
Correct. Yeah. That day is your life admin. So you got doctor's appointments or whatever, they do it on that day.
Cool.
It does. It's a little bit hard, like especially as the team grows, a little bit hard to organize because it's all kind of scheduled, and everyone has to have a buddy, because that's the hard thing, right? If you're off for a day and the client's calling.
Takes care of.
Correct. That's right. So everyone has to have a buddy, so someone that they hand over to the day before their day off. But predominantly it works quite well. Staff love it. Great retention tool.
Okay. And I know another thing we've spoken of, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about, is the operating rhythms you guys have implemented around the planning days and around sort of, I guess traditionally best to get an annual planning day out for a small business is a big step.
Yes.
In a lot of prep and work to get to that. How do you guys manage that? I know that you've now brought that in. It's a little bit more sort of quarterly. Like, can you talk to what that looks like?
Yeah. So historically, we've always done 2 planning days a year. And that's really looked like the first half of the day is planning, is talking about goal setting, that sort of stuff. Then the second half has been process, so process improvement. This year, I think we're going to do it a little bit differently, being that it's a bigger team. We've just had, actually at the start of this week, we've just done a process day. So just kind of reviewing the entire process end to end, utilizing obviously some of the Kaizen sort of terminology that loan market bring in. So we've done that as a process and purely as process. Because that takes an entire day within itself, or it could take multiple, right?
Yep.
So I think we're going to do 1 process day a year moving forward, and then probably 2 planning days a year.
Yeah. Cool.
I do think within those planning days, we'll potentially break that down a little bit more into team by team, being that now we've got a team of brokers and team of CSMs and those sorts of things. But yeah, so 1 process, 2 planning, I think is what the intention will be moving forward.
And you're doing those fully as off-site. You're getting the team out of the environment at work.
Yeah, where possible. So we'll do kind of the stuff in the office. Like we've got an incredible boardroom, so we'll do the stuff in the office and then do some sort of activity at the end of the day. Go and do barefoot bowls or something along those lines.
Cool.
And a dinner, opportunity to connect. Yeah.
How have you found that sort of, since that's been implemented, how have you found, like you mentioned before about the team having the buy-in,
Sure.
right? So they're quite heavily involved in the process and the building of what's on for the year ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's 2 components. So when we do planning, we talk about personal planning. So we start with going, okay, what's each individual's personal goals? So every single person that sits beside everyone every day can help keep others accountable for whatever those personal goals might be. So we talk about personal goals and then we talk about business goals. And we talk about numbers, how we're going to get there, what we're going to do. So we set ourselves a stretch target for the current fin year, and we went, look, if we hit it,
which is generally like $1 million more than ours.
Correct.
There's a bit of healthy competition there.
Is if we write more than Loan Market Edge, we're doing a little. I think we've decided on a little 2-3 day cruise, I think is what we're doing.
Very cool.
Yeah. So we kind of set that target kind of April last year in our planning day.
Yeah, I love that, and I guess that's a really big point of difference, especially when, as a high performer, as a technician, and then shifting into business owner. I'm not losing sight of those things and understanding, well, there's now 12 people on that journey with you. It's not just about the one, and that's often a really tricky gear to shift.
Yeah.
Right. And so doing things like that for the team, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I learned very early on, if you don't communicate these things with the team, it really ruffles feathers.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I remember we were overseas, we were on holidays, and I decided that I just wanted to test the waters and put out a job ad. And I'd forgotten to communicate with the team that I was going to do this. And here I am, I'm overseas, having a family holiday, and I get a message from one of the staff members going, "Am I being replaced? Question mark, question mark, question mark." And I went, oh, crap. I forgot to communicate that we were just testing the waters.
Yeah, I want you to grow, not replace.
Correct.
Additions.
Yeah, so I learned very quickly that all of these decisions need to be communicated, but they also need the buy-in to be about like, hey, we think this style of person could help, or hey, we think this could be a really great step moving forward.
Yeah. The more transparency in that environment, and you know what? They're in your team for a reason, and they're probably going to have some of the better answers, if not some of the best answers, to produce on a day like that.
Oh, absolutely. They have skill sets that I don't have. They see things that I don't see.
Yeah.
So 100%.
Yeah. And Zest Mortgages, love the name. Been a big fan. Just saw a video of the new office layout off camera. It was really very cool.
Thank you.
The inspo behind that, where did it come from?
Look, so from day dot, when I opened the business, I went, I am not a natural networker. I do not want to be knocking on real estate agents' doors looking for business. That's not who I am. I want to grow brand awareness. I want to source leads through online, social, these sorts of areas. And to do that, I think you need a brand.
Yeah.
I think you need a recognizable brand. I think you need a brand that stands for something. And I wanted something short and sweet and those sorts of things, something fresh. Yeah. So I literally went, okay, I sat down, I think I Googled like 4-letter words. And I literally sat there with this massive list of 4-letter words and went through the entire list. And while I was going through these words, and went short and sweet, I was also then checking trademarks, going, okay, can't have that one.
Yeah.
Can't have that one.
Yeah.
Finally get to Z, could have Zest. So that's what it's about. Yeah, because I wanted short and sweet, and I wasn't trademarked at the time. I wanted something that I could trademark.
Well, we got there in the end. Yeah, right. All the way to Z.
Yeah, that's it. But it actually resonates as well, right? Our ideal client set is young professionals. It is families. It's it's that it really resonates as that fresh vibe that I really wanted for the business. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And another thing you guys do, like really, I'll say exceptionally well, and probably you personally, is around your presence in the local community, right?
Yeah.
And what you guys give back.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of that around the women's legal services.
Yeah.
There's the dancing CEOs, hence the ballet school. There's the charity golf. There's a lot in there. Sponsoring local football clubs. I see a lot of that.
Yes.
I'm a big fan on the socials watching along.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure.
And what you guys have achieved there and what you do?
Yeah. Well, look, I guess like the community where we're based is a really tight-knit community, both the entire community, but the small business community as well. So all of the small business community will get together to support different things, to do different things. And it's just being involved, giving back to the people that have given us so much, right? My community has backed me to build a business.
Yeah.
They have supported me, they've promoted me, they've word of mouth recommended me to everyone that they could possibly know.
Yeah.
So my way of giving back is being, okay, I can support this community. And 12, 18 months ago, I went, you know what? We are so grateful to now be in a position where we can give back on a bigger platform.
Yeah.
Which is why I signed up for Dancing CEOs.
Yeah. Nailed it too, just quietly.
Thank you. Which is, look, charity is something I've never done before, and it is a different kettle of fish. It's very, very different to running a mortgage brokerage.
Yeah.
We're giving people money. At charity, you're asking for money, right? It's a different conversation. So yeah,
you guys have raised like in excess of $100,000+.
Yeah, $110,000 we did last year. Yeah. For and look, it's a really great charity as well. It's a charity that is helping women escape DV, and they provide free legal and now financial advice. So our fundraising was to hire financial advisors to give these women financial support when escaping these relationships.
Yeah, awesome. Kudos to that. And when's the next big upcoming one? So we get a little bit of plug there. When is the golf day? What's happening?
We've given it a break this year. Charity last year consumed probably 30% of my time. Yeah. Which is great within itself, but it was a huge component of my time out of the business. Yeah. This year we're back on to growing the business, and then we'll redo next year. Awesome. So I think for us, we decided it's a year on, year off. When it comes to charity.
Amazing. A good way to approach it.
Yeah, because it is a considerable component of your time that is invested into these sorts of things, which is great.
Yeah, but
we're still growing as well.
Running a business.
Yeah, correct.
What I'd love to talk to is just sort of what you've achieved again in that sort of 5-6 year mark is substantial, right? Significance, probably a better word there, and talked about the growth, the rapid growth, the shift from technician, business broker to business owner. Mm-hmm. Some career advice, right? For new brokers starting out, people wanting to start their own business. Like, where do you suggest they start? What's most important? That framework, I guess.
Yeah, look, I think I very much think that you can't be a jack of all trades. Is the way that we've grown the business. So I think you very much need to start by understanding what do you do well, and what is your market. Who is your ideal market, or who's your ideal client? Yeah. And then building a plan around that, which is why we're resi, and we very much focus mum and dad's 1, 2, 3 properties. That's really our ideal client set. So I think understanding your client first and foremost is really, really important. And then I would just reach out to other people in the industry that are doing really well. I would think 90% of business owners would be so happy to give up time to just sit down and chat to other people looking to enter the industry. Yeah. And I was so grateful to have so many people that did that for me, like yourself, people like that inspire me and be like, okay, cool, let's have a chat, let's figure out where to next.
I do think that's awesome to hear. I do think that's such a big part of our industry. I found that really unique to not just business itself, but, in the broking industry, the group we have amongst Loan Market and a BYOB, and it's just a really special community of people wanting to see each other succeed. Right? And that's been so unique. And the time we get, we talk about that behind the curtain experience, but I know that you mentioned about 30% of your time with communities. Mm-hmm. There was probably about another 30% of that was given back to Loan Market and other business owners. You were often on stage, you're at a lot of events, and so giving so much back so quickly as well has been no doubt a huge part of growth for yourself. Yeah, but it has really helped. We see that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I truly think if someone's looking to enter the industry, they just need to figure out what they want to do, who they want to help, and then build a plan around that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. Knowing what you know now, if you were to start again tomorrow, is there anything you'd do differently?
So 12 months into my brokering journey, I changed aggregators. And I was with my previous aggregator because probably purely out of laziness, if I'm really honest. I was making decisions around so many things, and making a decision around an aggregator wasn't top on the priority list. I just went with who I dealt with previously, ultimately. So I think probably investing some time and energy in some of those big key decisions is really, really important. So that would be one of those big key decisions, but kind of tech is a really big key decision as well, right? Yeah. So, for example, what tech are you going to utilize from a CRM perspective? Because making changes to that once you get to the size that we are is near impossible. Yeah. So kind of really thinking about what tech do I need and what people do I need around me, and making sure that you make some really informed decisions up front.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, big. I think some really good piece of advice there. You know, we go into this never thinking that that's going to be a thing, and here we are, you know, for yourself 6 years, 10, 14 years down the track, and you're trying to unpack or unwind decisions or stuff that you wish you'd really looked at differently. Yeah.
I think you also need to understand where in the business you need to be.
Your role in the business.
Correct. I can't bookkeep. But initially I was doing my own bookkeeping and stuffing it up, right? Yeah. Like you really need to learn to be like, okay, this is my skill set and I can outsource the rest.
Around it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Don't try and do everything. Yeah.
And we talked about obviously the impact you're having in such a short amount of time, again, has been really powerful for the industry and awesome to watch. Yeah. What sort of legacy do you hope to leave, in the business, in leadership? Like, what does that look like? What do you hope that to look like?
Yeah, well, there's probably two aspects to this. There's the family aspect, and then there's the business aspect. I think I'd love to inspire more young females to give it a red hot crack. Yeah. Because look, there's still 20% of mortgage brokers are female. Yeah. And even fewer of that run their own business. Yeah. As females, we tend to be really risk adverse, not back ourselves. I'd love to inspire more women to back themselves, because women make exceptional brokers.
And leaders.
And leaders. Yeah. Something I'm still working on, but yeah. Absolutely. I'd love to inspire more women. And it's absolutely something you can do around your family. It's so many women choose not to head in this direction because they're like, oh, it's not flexible, but we've made it work. So that's probably that aspect. And then from a family perspective, I'd love for my kids to understand, like I work a lot, right? I work nights. I don't work weekends. I work a lot of nights, though. I miss sporting games, but I'd love for my kids to understand that nothing comes for free. Like you need to work your ass off if you're going to get somewhere. Yeah. And I hope I inspire them to do that.
Yeah, I love that. Love it. And finally, 2025, if you had to sum it up in one word, what's the theme for the year?
Yeah, so for me, I think this year is about being uncomfortable. So this year, if we're going to take our business to the next step, it's a big step, I need to be uncomfortable. So that's my word for this year.
I love that. And that will be up on the wall behind.
Yeah, the team know about it. So because I'd love for them to push themselves outside of their comfort zones as well. So uncomfortable is the word this year.
Looking forward to seeing that come together.
Yeah.
Mel, thank you. Appreciate you coming on. Great chat as always, and look forward to watching the year ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. Bye.